we have to be honest when we say there was definitely a split between the two games in Marseille and the two in Paris. And I don't know whether it's because I was there, but I have watched it back. And I don't know whether it's because I was there or I wasn't. But I think the level of rugby, I think it is the greatest rugby weekend we've had. I do agree with you on that sense. But I do think the games that we saw in Paris and the games that we saw in Marseille look very different.
Yeah, they did.
I say very different, but the physicality, the error counts of the four teams in Paris, I've never seen skill executed like that with such speed, with such accuracy.
Let's go to Paris then. France, they're out. They're out, lads.
Massive. They're out. And it's sad. And we can go around the houses on this. We can say that should... Yeah, it is. I think it is sad for the tournament that the host nations are out. Not for me.
Hold on, you celebrated when England got knocked out of the group stages of 2015, pal.
It was funny.
Was that sad?
It was funny.
Did I
Look
celebrate?
at you now. It's not sad, lads. The better team won.
I didn't celebrate at all. I was gutted because I weren't there with Scotland. Andy Rowe did. I think the tournament is worse for not having France in it. But there's no... It's sport. Like someone was going to lose. Either the world champions were going to be out or France were going to be out. So either way, it would have been sad. But what was building around this French team and the side narrative around Anton Dupont, the atmosphere in the stadium, how big the sport is in France, the host nations, the build up to that, the fact that they're now out, it kind of takes a little bit of that. Sorry, I'm underplaying it. It takes out all the energy because the host nations aren't in it. France aren't in it. Like that's a generational team as well. And
Doesn't
I know
take
that
out all the energy, James. The Eurostar is fully booked. The flights are fully booked. England are coming to Paris.
Mate, and this is the thing with England. Do you think singing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot is adding any...
Low.
Yeah, I mean, listen to it. It's not doing anything to me, but the stadium is absolutely buzzing, and I don't know what it's going to be like. I mean, there was police everywhere. It was absolute carnage, but we know the Latino spirit and the French flair, all based on emotions, and now that they're out, I just think the tournament is less for not having the French go all the way. But as people know, I'm a big South African fan, and I don't think any team beats France last night, and I said this before the game, and I said it last week, because I had the one prediction I got right was South Africa beating France. If any team were going to beat France and put out the fire, it was the world champions in South Africa, because this will come down to it. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts as well, Goody. And me and Andy Rowe had a little chat about this before, and he mentioned it last week. The pressure on France and Ireland going into them games, they've never won a World Cup. France have been in 3 finals and come away with nothing. If South Africa lose that game, fair play. Host nations, France. We're the current world champions. We won it last time round. It's someone else's go. So the way that game started, France get the early try. They looked unplayable at points, especially in that first half. The way that South Africa play, the players that they've got, the physicality, the size of the human beings, all of these different things that we know about, we've spoken about before. There was one team that could beat them, I think, last night, and it was the team that beat them in South Africa. So in answer to your question, Andy Rowe, yes, it's sad that France are out, but it actually just shows you how good South Africa are, and they're now on course to get back-to-back World Cups, which is what I had Tendai, I had the Beast pitch side. I was like, what is it? What is the motivational driver? And he said it's to do what the All Blacks did in 2011, then 2015.
Back to back, baby. Yeah, I mean, I understand your point, Jim, about the French, and it's built up to be their World Cup, and it's sad. I ain't sad that the French are gone, boys. I was fully South African on Sunday night. Get me to Saturday. I don't want South Africa to do anything more in this competition. But no, listen, I get your point, and it's all been built up around Anton Dupont and the team. Imagine Sean Edwards today; he would be absolutely raging. But that's the thing when you've got, and the top 4 teams all played against each other in Paris. Let's be honest, there was an ass whisker to choose between them, wasn't there, in each game? And that's the beauty of how good this World Cup has been. Yes, it's sad that 2 big teams have gone out at the quarterfinal stage, but as people say, you've got to beat pretty much everyone, or you've got to beat a team that's beaten another bloody good team to win it. So Yeah, there's no sort of sob stories around France going out. Yes, the last 2 weeks of the World Cup now, there's no French team in it. There might be a little less atmosphere around the country, but
A little less.
well, yeah, there will be a little less.
It's going to suck the life out of it, isn't it?
No, it's not going to suck the life out of it. I don't think. I mean, it's not going to suck the life. Yes, it will be less because the French aren't there, but you're still going to see packed stadiums. You could equally say, and there was one comment I saw on social media, it might have been in a press conference, that the French economy is going to struggle now the Irish have gone home because they have absolutely torn the place to pieces and spent cash in bars and all that stuff. So you could equally argue that with the Irish gone home, but don't worry, the English are coming, and we've been scrapping in the stands with each other. Napoleon was tipping boys over seats and all that stuff.
Napoleon was about 12 by the look of him on social media.
He should have got a red card for that flip tackle as well.
Well, I'm looking at that. He must have been on the gear. He was that strong. Some standout performances from South Africa.
Yeah.
Ebenezer-Beth.
Wow.
My goodness me. Not just his try, right? He should never have been yellow carded either. That's a rugby collision. I don't want to get into all that because I've been biting my lip over the last kind of few weeks with all these different things, probably with my role as well, that I shouldn't be commenting on it. But I thought he was the best player on the pitch. And we could talk about Jesse Creel, Cheslin Colby, all these other players in the South African team, the French. Quagga Smith was unbelievable when he came on as well. Dion Ferry as well came on in the back row. But Ebenezer-Beth, that try that he scored, I think there was 2 try-saving tackles.
Yeah.
The kick that went up in the air from Cobus Reinach, which for
What a
both
take.
New Zealand and for South Africa, that was the difference, was around their kicking game as well, in them 50-50s that went up in the air.
Yeah.
But
They got 2
Ebenezer-Beth,
tries from it, didn't they?
yeah. But Ebenezer-Beth was involved
Yeah.
in that as well, on the kick chase. I mentioned the try-saving tackles, scored a try. He's the best second row in the world, I'd say by some distance.
He could be the best
But I
player in
thought-
the world.
Yeah, I'd say he'd be up for World Player of the Year.
Yeah.
The way that he's played, depending on how far South Africa go, which I think they'll make a final, and then it's a 50-50 game against the All Blacks. But his performance and the selection of how Rassie Erasmus, and how funny was it? So you see Rassie, when South Africa won, one of the fans has passed him over a plastic cup of champagne. He's buffaloed it. It's absolute chaos in there.
What a
But
bloke.
such a smart coach.
Yeah.
You
What a
know,
bloke,
to go into that game and the makeup of the team, not going in with Faf de Klerk, backing Manny Lebok, who kicks them conversions from ridiculously hard places, to back his players, to not have Jasper Wiese and pick Dwayne Vermeulen, who wasn't playing against Ireland when they played against Ireland. I mean, just
Genius,
Well, it
mate.
just shows you.
He's a genius.
He is a genius coach.
You know how he picks
Genius
his
coach.
teams. Have you heard that thing? But the battle stats.
Yeah, the battle stats. Yeah. Maybe share that,
Yeah.
Andy. Right? Maybe you can share that, because this insight into it, and you might explain it better. Like, he isn't just based on emotion. So when you look at Rassie Erasmus and you've got this, I wouldn't even call it a circus. It's almost like it's like a fan brigade behind him, and I'm one of them in the media. Like, I
am.
absolutely love it. But you're right. Just go through that point, Andy Rowe, because it's, whether or not it's true or not, I've heard it as well. But let's just say it is true, and then Rassie can come out and probably say that we're lying, which probably means it's true.
Well, I heard Heineken Meyer say it, the former Springboks coach, and they were briefed by Rassie before the tournament, or they were briefed by Rassie about how he picks his teams, and he works on battle stats. So it's the time in between. It's the time in between a meaningful impact on the game. So some players might take 2 minutes 20, for argument's sake, to make a meaningful impact, whether that's a carry over the advantage line or a turnover, or you're slowing the ball down, or something in your position that's a meaningful impact on the game. And do you know who's got the highest battle stats?
Cheslin.
Or should I have a guess? Peter Steph-Toy.
Quagga Smith.
Quagga Smith. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
And I said how good
Well,
he was off
he's
the bench.
sensational.
Yeah.
He is a sensational player.
Yeah.
Like,
But
for
you don't
Sevens
pick him-
background.
You don't pick him. Not many people, if any, pick him in the starting back row. But that shows the brilliance of Rassie Erasmus in how he uses his bench, and those battle stats are phenomenal. Like, Jim, yours would have been about 40 minutes and mine would have been about 42 minutes for a positive impact on a game.
That's fine.
Do you get
As long as
negative? So do you add time on if you're negative? Because we'd be absolutely fucked, Jim.
That's fine.
Negative
as long
impacts.
as I got one, I'd be happy. But this is a throwaway. It's almost a bit of a joke. South Africa deserved to win the game. But do you think Ben O'Keefe was privy to Quagga Smith's battle stats? Because he was the only player in the whole game that could support his body weight. And it had nothing to do with his hand being on the ground, which was the turnover.
No,
which
Jim.
Andre
I
Pollard
thought
kicked
Ben
from
O'Keefe,
halfway.
and Andy Rowe defend him as well because he's a Kiwi. I thought Ben O'Keefe had a good game. I'm not happy with DuPont coming out and saying what he said. He's penalised Faf de Klerk, who I thought was amazing when he came. I was so shocked that Faf was on the bench behind Kobus Reinach. But again, Rassie, genius. When, you can pick out so many things and, Faf passes the ball out someone's buttocks when Andre Pollard's in the boot for the drop goal, and he just said, "No, you're not having that scrum to France." So I thought Ben O'Keefe had a good. I actually thought all the referees did very well, and we'll come on to some individuals in a bit. I thought Ben O'Keefe.
But Goody, on Ben O'Keefe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the easiest thing to do going at the refs. I've got a big issue with Ben O'Keefe.
Really?
And that game, can't speak
Go on.
French. I don't think you can go into a game
that's true.
of that magnitude,
Yep. Luke Pearce
of
should have
that
done it.
magnitude, and you cannot speak a word of French.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, as in, you have to be able to level with that team.
Yeah.
So
Who's to
the
blame?
emotional
Who's to blame? Who's in
energy-
charge of picking the referees?
Jim.
I'll give you two referees that weren't working this weekend that can both speak French.
I
One,
saw them.
Luke
yes,
Pearce. Two,
yes.
my mate Andrew Brace.
Mate, they both came up to me. They literally like the Chuckle Brothers. They
Yeah.
came up to me when I was pitch side. Where's Goody? I said, leave it. And yeah, but and look, it's easy to sit here. And this isn't a slight on Ben O'Keefe. Like,
No.
it's not an easy thing to do. But my word, you have to be able to communicate in the native tongue.
Yeah.
So that's
Who's to
something that
blame?
needs
Let's
to be looked at.
point the finger. Who picks the referees? Should have had Luke Pearce or Andrew Brace, who both speak French.
Yeah, it's easier said than done because
It ain't. You just made it that simple. You've got a referee that's not French, not South African, that doesn't ref in the top 14, doesn't ref just in South Africa, can speak English and French. It's not that hard, is it, to get a referee?
Well, doesn't
there?
matter. Doesn't
Luke
matter now.
Pearce.
It's irrelevant.
Andy
Goody.
Brace.
Goody, what was your thoughts on the charge down from Colby?
Well, do you know, my initial thought was, how the fuck? And then you see it, and then you're like, wow. Because they're obviously TV replays, again, bit of a moan, you don't see the whole big picture. And I thought, I wonder if they're checking it. Because touchline conversion, Ramos has probably never been charged down like that in his life. And I've been there as a kicker where people charge you early, and it takes big plums to stand still. Because most kickers see an early charge and think, oh my God, I've got to try and kick the ball. But it takes big plums just to stand still and say, and then the referee will send the charger back. But I posted a clip on social media because I put it out there on Twitter. Has anyone got the footage? And I got sent this wide shot that's now been taken down because of algorithms of X or whatever it is. And I'm going to say it. He's offside. He is ahead of the
About
line.
10 metres.
Oh,
Six.
he's ahead of the line. It's not
Goody
10,
at
it's
the
probably
rule around.
5. But you cannot fault Cheslin Colby's effort and desire and all the. It's a non-negotiable, right? Or it's something that doesn't require skill. It requires effort, pace, and doing the dirty things that not many players do. So he's taken the risk and he's got the reward. But if a TMO isn't having a poo or got his head in the biscuit tin, I hope he checked it. And if he did, he's probably wrong because he was in front of the line. He was in front of the line. And I'm not saying that France win the game if the conversion gets retaken, because the easy thing to say, Ramos gets it. Ramos, worldie of a kicker, by the way. And I said it pre-World Cup. But the 2 points could have been the difference.
Andrew, on that,
Yes.
and
Yes, John.
without bringing it back to me, that was my point of difference. That was my battle skill. That was my battle point. I
Hold
would
on a
charge
minute.
down
Oh,
everything. I
chasing
swear
conversions.
to God, I chased everything. I was like a dog
That's
with a bone.
Mr. Gilmore's jacket!
The Saracens coaches will back me up.
Did
on
you ever
this
get
if we
one?
Ever
Did you ever get one, Jim?
No. No. But my God,
Jim, run!
My God,
I'm
I put
running!
them off. I put them off. I tell you now, charge down was my forte.
You put them off.
And
You
that
can't
used to
make
get
noise.
Me back. Yeah, but if they
And if
hear
you're
me
getting
coming,
nowhere
that
near a
Mr.
charge down, then what? How are you putting them off?
Shitting themselves, mate.
Because the big fella's coming.
That was me. I used charged down every single kick
And got none.
and got none. But my God, the
Effort,
output.
though.
That was the battle skill.
Yeah.
Pod. Rugby Pod.